Please join me for the 2023 Pointer Overflow CTF. It is a contest that is free to enter and is open to one and all worldwide. It is a CTF that we host annually at my university in honor of our cybersecurity graduate and undergraduate programs. This year we have 27 challenges in 9 categories, so there should be something for everybody. Please do go to pointeroverflowctf.com and register. The contest begins in September and ends in January. Please join us. It should be lots of fun. Thank you. Just starting myself up a little entry-level script here. It's nothing fancy and anything like that, but just a basis here. I want to start my own vulnerability scanning script, and I know that there's plenty of them out there. A user who I believe has the given name of Phil, goes by the Plague 1988 on Steam, posted a guide with a bunch of source files on it for various different things. And I don't necessarily feel the need to reinvent the wheel, but I do want to play around with this and see how it works. So I kind of started my own rather than directly just borrow other source code and so on. Turns out GrayScript it's pretty accessible if you have some scripting experience, and it wasn't too hard to get started. I'm having a couple of hurdles here and there. For example, this script right now, what it will do, as I have notated here, is it basically will scan a remote host on IP and port, return libraries, search, and I've been exploring the meta-exploit library here, see what some of the things it has in it. Super easy to use. Basically, we just connect to a remote host. We use the scan function here in the meta-exploit library to get library versions, which is nothing that we can't do with, like... Hold on a sec, I picked up another easy mission here so that I can test the script out. So if we just nmap an IP, it's going to give us versions, libraries and open ports, libraries and versions. So we're not doing anything that we can't immediately do with our utilities. However, you can go further. There is a scan address function that will take... So when we do scan, it will return the vulnerable offsets that it detects, and then scan address will return potential exploits. I, at this point, am not like 100% sure on the back end. Let me get rid of these quick. Exactly how that system works. I understand that it's simulating vulnerable input with a frontline function for a buffer overflow. Well, let's actually run it and take a look and see what we get back, because it's probably easier for me to talk about it if you can see it. So if we vuln scan that IP, and let's do the HTTP service here. I also want to mention, by the way, I'm not doing these videos as a tutorial. I don't really feel the need to. Greyhack Gaming is very active on YouTube. They have their own channel, and they have their own tutorial series. So you don't need to get a tutorial from me. The developer of the game has done the tutorial, and he's done an excellent job with it, in my opinion. I'm not going to improve upon that. So this is not a tutorial series. This is just a guy who's not very good at Greyhack figuring it out. That's all this is. I'm not planning on using this as a learning tool for my students. It's not a 100% faithful recreation of any of this kind of work, but it is a fun game, and it does do the concepts correctly, to the point where I'd say if you want to play a good game that the most accurate simulation that I've yet come across, then this is definitely for you, right? So keeping in mind it's just a game and so on, we're figuring out game mechanics as much as we're figuring out anything else here. All right, so we did our the results of scan address are here. So let me go back up to the top. Let me actually maximize this for you. Can I zoom? I can't zoom. Okay. So what we have is, so this is the result of scan, right? It found an offset that I have labeled vulnerable address. I believe that it simulates the address for a buffer that is potentially overflowable. It's not a one-for-one kind of thing when it comes to software exploitation, but it's close enough, I suppose. Usually, leaking pointers is the hardest part of the process. But we take that address and we feed that into scan address here. Decompile source, so the meta exploit library does on-the-fly decompilation and vulnerability scanning for you. You know, I guess if I can add value at all, it might be in translating the game mechanics into real-world sort of things. So maybe I'll give that a shot here. So normally, this process is way more complicated, and it requires quite a bit more different tools and quite a bit more trial and error and frustration. The game does a lot of the heavy lifting for you, which I would hope that a game would, because nobody would have any fun. We weren't. So normally this process, what you would do, you've got your binary that's going to be running as a service on the remote host. You have remotely to access it. You're going to have the IP and the port. That much is true. You're going to interact on that port, and you're going to get an instance. Like if the remote server is running, let's say it's running a bin using inet or something like that. You're going to connect on that port. It's going to run an instance of the application, and you're going to be able to interact with it. And sometimes the software will have bugs in it that will allow you to manipulate the application and attack it, right? So let's say that we have, you know what, I can actually show you because I just taught software exploitation. I just taught software exploitation this semester. So actually, let me pull up my VM and I'll show you. All right, this is the a Kali VM that we have running up in our virtual information assurance lab. I have in this IA lab a server that is running xinetd. It's got services connected to binaries, so that if I netcat to that server on a specific port, if we do like 3.1, that is an instance of the vulnerable binary I've created that's running on that port. So when a user connects with netcat, it will run their instance of the application. They can interact with it and attack it. In this case, it's a really simple application. This is just the first example that we had from this semester. So this is just a simple buffer overflow. And as you can see, as an attacker on a remote machine, the only feedback I'm getting is the interaction I have with the application, and it takes quite a bit of trial and error and skills, know-how, stuff that you learn in school, kind of a thing, to find any potential vulnerabilities, because they may not even be there. In this case, we have a buffer that takes a name variable. We can see that from interacting with it. The question is how that's implemented, because not every implementation of that, and we call that a frontline function, by the way, anywhere the user interacts with the application is a much higher instance of possibilities for shenanigans and malfeasance. But the question is how is that implemented? Is that safe code use back there, or is that just a gets with no validation or anything, like no input restriction? If it is, then it's potentially a buffer overflow, and in this case it definitely is. And if there's interest, leave a comment. I'd be happy to run through some actual examples of software exploitation. I did a good dozen of them last semester. I'd be happy to post up, because I'm not going to reuse them the next time the class runs, because it turns out that I was using a language the students just aren't familiar with when I wrote the source code, so I'm going to have to rewrite them in another language. So leave a comment, I guess, if you want to see that. But in order to do this, what Greyhack is doing, totally different process, right? Let's go back to that. So what Greyhack is doing is it's doing the work that we would normally use some other utilities for, like it's decompiling source. So I don't have the source code for that application. If I can get it, then sure, I can decompile, or if I can get a compiled binary, I can decompile it. We wouldn't have to decompile source; it's already source. So it's a little bit of a misnomer there, but I got what he was going for. That's fine. But normally, if I would have a compiled bin, I'd have to decompile it with something like Ghidra. And then check through and see, what is the actual code implementations here? Where can I possibly find a vulnerability? Finding the address to that buffer in the application run space would be a whole different process. I might take that binary and run it through a debugger, and if it's running like ASLR or PIE, position independent executable in Linux, then I'd have to find a way to leak an address so that I can calculate the offset to various different places. So it's doing the address finding for us without us doing anything, because again, that process would turn a lot of people off. It's decompiling the binary, which we normally might not even be able to do, and that is doing some of the heavy lifting. Searching for unsecure values, it's using basically an automated code audit, like you would get with like scan build, or well, there's tons of them out there. I'm not going to give a bunch of products, but we would run that through a third utility now in order to find potentially vulnerable functions. And then it's also doing unsafe check. Yeah, so this is the output that you would get with like a source code auditor. It's detected that there is an array here, a variable push par, that is potentially vulnerable to a buffer overflow. And it's giving us the in-game analog of the requirements in order to execute that. So this one needs an active user, this one doesn't need anything. So the place where I'm at now with my code scanner is I'm going to, well, number one, I'm having two problems right now, which I'll work out eventually. I only put a couple of, like an hour or so into this so far. But I'm having trouble invoking external applications, because what I want to do is I want to automate this. I want to just give it an IP and then have it run Nmap and collect open ports, and then run a scan on those open ports, and then do other stuff. So I'm at the point where it's like I can't figure out necessarily how to invoke Nmap, if such a thing is even possible. Oh, and I should also mention, for this, I'm referring to what appears to be the official Greyhack GrayScript documentation. This is codedocs.ghtools.xyz. I think this is official. If not, it's very good. It's very comprehensive. And I'm using that to build this out in my own vulnerability scanner. I don't want it to be an auto hack. I did see that there were some examples that were up there for auto hacks, but I do want to examine them and see how this is working. Let me see if I can find that example quick. It is still up in one of these tabs. I know that. It's a beginner scanner. This beginner scanner is way more complicated than the one I have. Where am I at? They are doing so much more than I am. Who is this? Oh, this is Zach. They are doing so much more. Oh, but they do have a scan. Oh, okay. Oh, no, that's the scan. Are they doing an Nmap? They could just tell me what I'm missing here. Include library. No, I want to run. I want to invoke Nmap and collect the outputs. Well, anyway, yeah, so that's where I'm at with my first beginner scanner here. I know that these, from the last time I played, if I remember correctly, these offsets are like basically unique identifiers to exploits, if I remember correctly. As a matter of fact, let's check that out. Let's open up the source code from one of those vulnerabilities I got. This was an FTP vulnerability that gets guest access, and somewhere, yeah. somewhere in here we find the address, and I think that this is an identifier for this particular exploit. And the MetaLib has, the meta exploit library has an overflow function that we can use to automatically, basically, like that's how exploits work. Like you send an overflow, you send the memory identifier, you send the exploit, not exploit name, variable name, I guess, is in this case, and that's, it just kind of does it, right? There's no like figuring out your offset, there's no building shell code, there's no ROP chains or any of that kind of stuff. It's simplified, but that seems to be how it works. So that's how I guess the auto hacks work, is it's, I'm guessing, a collection of these, or they've parsed the output of the scan address, which when you run scan, it actually does return it as an array. So there's going to be an entry for every address. Libs is just dump lib, and then we're scanning each lib and dumping it into a different, and then we're iterating through. It's messy. It's messy. I admit it. So this is working. I'm at a point where I get this information. I'm just not 100% able to actualize it. I want to automate the Nmap scan if I can, and then I want to I want this to be cleaner output. So I just want address and then value, because there doesn't seem to be too much like difference. I want to get rid of everything except for the name and the requirements. But what I do want to do is I want to eventually reach a point, as I started to do down here, where for each address, so we have the address because we're looping through it. If I see output that's like this one right here, I don't have any requirements for this. Just provide the variable and give it a shot. Try the overflow and see if it works, kind of a thing. Just messing around, sort of. So that's where I'm at with that. I didn't record myself writing it because honestly it's not that exciting to sit here and watch me write code, but I figured I would share my baby's first scanner with you if you're just dipping your toes into this, and provide you my thoughts and my experience. It's super easy to use. The syntax is not all that foreign. It's fairly intuitive. Don't have a problem with it. Most of this is error checking, as likely yours will be too. So so now with my test, this test mission here is just a level 0 credentials needed, as I've already done a bunch of times before, so I don't feel a need to show it, but this is where I'm at. And so what would my next step be here? So if I have this and this, no, that's not necessary, because the vulnerabilities are just front ends for this, right? Let's check that again. What is this really doing? Just looking for params. So 2, and that's going to be address, not address and port. So include lib, if not meta exploit, then that's okay. And if no, okay, address equals, okay. So there's, okay, so it is a user, it is a IP and port. Net session, use address and port. If not, okay, dump lib, net session dump lib, which is exactly what my scanner is doing. When we do a dump lib, we get this. All right, so we get a library inversion. Result. Okay, it fills MetaLib with that, with the library inversion. MetaLib overflow. Let me check the documentation. Doesn't overflow require anything else? No, just memory, address, and value. Okay. Result. Let's start terminal. Terminal. Launches an active terminal. Okay. Oh, right. Okay, gotcha, gotcha. Where is MetaLib being used? Oh, it's right here. Duh. Okay, so it uses the ActiveNet session with the library and the version to do the overflow using the specific address and variable name. If it fails, then we get program ended. If it succeeds, if it succeeds at gaining a shell of some kind, then we start the terminal. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing to it. There's nothing to it at all. So auto hackers that I've come across are basically just ways of, they've already figured out something I haven't, which is how to isolate these names. Maybe I'll take a look at one of those. Let's see. I think it was... there's so many users. There's so many users here playing Greyhack that are so good. Alright, I just took a look at some sample code here that was helpfully provided by the Plague 1988. I decided to show it to you because they worked hard on it, they posted it, and it looks great. I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. So I don't want to just take wholesale the entire script because I'm not going to learn anything that way. But I did walk through this myself and you know, parsed how it works. The piece that I was looking for here, it looks like even none of the samples I found, including this one, invoke nmap. I'm guessing that's not a thing that can be done. The Greyhack wiki does have, there's a launch function here, but it does give the warning that it can only be used with script-based terminal commands. The example makes it seem like it should work, but I guess maybe it doesn't. But right now, I guess other than invoking nmap, what I really want to do is I want to parse out the information from scan address. So it looks like this is being done here in this script with this string manipulation, just simple string manipulation. So I'm gonna borrow that and see if I can get the output that I'm looking for here. And again, thanks very much to everyone in the community for sharing their code, but specifically in this case, the Plague 1988. So let's open up my thing back up here, my baby's first vulnerability scanner. And instead of printing the full output of scan address, I am instead going to say, let's see, so I don't want to reuse, I'll do vulnvars, I don't want to reuse names. Print, oh, there's a little bit more to it that I'm missing. I need this whole 4 and this whole 7. I need this whole segment here. And I'm just going to rename my variable to data because then I'll have less likelihood of causing problems down the road. Alright, then here, then this, I don't need that, and let's do the print. Okay, let's run it now and see what we got. Line 25, oh, I gotta, no, that should be right. Oh, I got an extra thing here now. It's exactly what I was looking for. It's exactly what I was looking for. And we even have now, it's dumped into an array here. We can even make use of that with the code that I have commented out right now if we want to set up something of an auto hacker. It doesn't give us the criteria, but we don't need it. It looks like most auto hackers just kind of brute force their way through it until they find something that works, which is 100% valid. I happen to know that this one right down here has no requirements, so I'm tempted to just let's do it, right? Let's see if it works, I guess. Let's see how it's invoked in the source. So we need to, let me open up a second. Alright, so we need to net session, okay, so we need to our result is gonna dump lib. So we need to invoke overflow on not on this actually needs to be on libs. Okay. Alright, so I set out to create baby's first vulnerability scanner, and instead I created baby's first auto hacker. But that's cool. What we need now is we need a start terminal here. If not shell, then exit. And it will be, actually we don't need to exit, or we shouldn't exit, I guess I should say, because if it fails, then we're not going to get anything. What I should do is instead I should go if shell, then shell start terminal. But can I programmatically what type of shell it is? Oh, this is API. Is what I'm looking for. Connect service. I want to know if I can determine if it's a guest, root, or standard user shell right away. Like, can I get it to, before I start the terminal, can I maybe echo back who am I and use that? I'm not sure. I'm going to leave that for the future for improving this. And for now, I'm just going to say, try it. If we get a shell, we're good. Okay. Because that did work. We did get guest privs there. Inactive user found. Failed. Starting attack success. Here's another success. Fail. Starting attack success. Yeah, they're all guessed. So, okay, so save. I don't remember if I did this. Compile, and let's run it again. And we should pop a guest shell if this works. Oh. Start terminal not found in map. Am I using this wrong? Result is overflow. In this case, it is shell equals, yeah, that's correct. If shell, then, and that is pretty much exactly the syntax that we have. So the usage here, start terminal was shell equals get shell connect service. If shell, then shell start terminal. If type of a result equals shell, then And my output was key not found. Okay, so that's misuse error. And it did die on the vine with the first. I think maybe I need to check. I think I need to check there. If the type of shell is then start terminal, and if ampersand remember string identifier is required. Oops, that's why. There we go. So that worked. We got our first automated shell. It's just guest access. My next step, I still have 2 things on my wish list. Let me keep track of these so I don't forget. Let me close this. No, don't save that. Let me open up another notepad, and this is going to be let's see. Now we're going to do home scan. One automate scan ports. Detect shell priz. Collect valid exploits for higher proofs. And I will add to that as I go. Save that as here, and this will be script stuff .txt. I'm also going to, while I'm making lists, I'm going to keep a wish list here. I want to be able to sort items in the shop. I want... What else was there? Oh yeah, word wrap in Notepad. I want... can you actually change the size of text in the terminal? You can do UI scan. Yeah, can't. Okay. I want custom font in terminal size, especially. That's my gray hack wish list. Gray hack wish list. Save. We keep a list. Oh, there was a successful attack here. It bypassed it because our script, as it's currently written, just looks to see if a shell was created. But we actually did have a successful attack here, where we were able to change a user's password. That would be helpful. And that would be at this address. So we can alter our script to maybe detect if we have a successful password change. Doing that would require what, though? What is the output? This one is the one. That's why I asked for a new file name. Ah. Now let's try. Okay, so we did modify the password. We did modify the password. In this case, there was nothing else for us to do with it because we couldn't, like, use that for anything SSH as an opener or whatever. But we were able to just throw that value in there. So that's good to know. That's a little bit more... which is which now? Okay, here's my vuln scan. Okay, we're going to close this. I would like to change the color of the output so that I can see better when something succeeds. That'll also be on my wish list here. And 3 is change output or success and failure. Okay. Just gotta give them the password that we changed. There we go. Alright, that's the job. I did get this email. I don't remember if I actually showed it on Hard or not, but we got a strange email here. Hello, I've heard about your skills. This is not a job I took on. This is one that just kind of randomly came. So, and I think I started on it and I stopped because I had something come up. So let's do this one quick now that I got my automated scanner. Maybe it will help us, or maybe we'll have to write some more stuff or whatever along the way. Certainly, taking a look at the computer, you may find something that interests you. So let's see. Did I do? Well, actually, let me switch Wi-Fi here, since I just did a jab. All right, got ourselves new connection. Let's do this. Is no. This is, oh yeah, okay. Yes. I did start on this. That's the same thing. Do they stay online for... I don't know. Let's find out. And we are looking at number 2. So 1, 2, we've got 2 services that are running, SSH and SMTP. So let's vuln scan. Let's start with SMTP. Okay, we got guest. Privileges obtained from user root. But we... What? If we got root access, why are we... If we got root access, why are we in a guest shell? Privileges obtained from user root. Why? Let me close this. Yes, I guess. lib smtp 109. Okay, these are the exploits here. There's only 3 of them. Okay. So, privilege is obtained from user root, but this is only supposed to print the path of boot. That's why we didn't get a shell. So we only can get shell access here. What was the other service, SSH? Oh no. Oh, she's on to us. Larson ABC? What's that mean? Larson ABC. It was SSH 41146. Okay, we got many more options here on this one. This one might work. This is root access. Hustle. I'm gonna need to switch Wi-Fi though, so I'm gonna need to crack another. Gonna need to crack myself another network. Hold on a sec. Almost there. I'm going to take it a little bit over what the indicated limit is. Again, for 24%, it says 12,500 here on this list. This is from a beginner guide posted on Steam by Onikidokos. Okus. Either way, it's just the Hacker's Handbook guide for version 0.8. There's a little graphic here on it that shows relative percentages and then the number of acts required to crack. So we've got those and a little bit more. I think we're good. Now we can air crack that. Okay. Alright, let's connect to that new network. Save. Close. Clear. Alright. Now, let's see if that... there's a... for the libssh, this version, there is the hustle here. I'm not sure what version of kernel module is being run on this machine, so we're gonna give it a shot, not cut. 2. Okay. We need version 110. They only have 107. So let's run our vuln scan again. This time we're going to run it on port 2.2 instead of 2.5. We can get guest access on SMTP. Let's see if we can get anything better on SSH. Just guessed again. Okay. And we only had the, well, we actually got the first one was guest access. Can we do any better? That gives us guest access, so we won't be able to access that anyway. Same. I mean, I assume you need more than guest access to access, etc. So are these exploits just useless? Because it gives us a level of privileges that can't access the file? That's unfortunate if so. On-root user. I mean, that would be useful. SSH is running. So I guess let's buy Levine. Cool. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. SSH Sonic and password key port 2.2. Alright, we're on the box. What am I supposed to be taking a look at? Okay, can't remove here. Do I need to elevate all the way to root? It just said that there would be something interesting. You may find something that interests you. There's an N code and a D code. Is that for... I can't remember what that's for. Let's grab it and we'll play around with it. Maybe when we're not on the box, but it doesn't seem like that's super interesting to me. Oh no, I've been caught. We have received a notice from the authorities informing that illegal services are being carried out from our services according to the records of the system. So that is the box I'm currently working on. I don't know what Larson ABC is. Thanks to our policy of anonymity, we have not provided your personal information to the authorities. However, receive this type of notices is clearly against our rules. Therefore, we have proceeded to deactivate your remote computer and remove its contents. You are free to reuse our services whenever you want, but we recommend that you be more cautious in the future. That's the game over for Greyhack. If I try and sign back in, am I going to have to start over? Which is, I mean, that's totally fine. Oh, crap, I didn't save my... Okay, so there we go. I do have to start over. Okay. Totally fine with that, and I will start over. I hadn't built up that much anyway. Yeah, lesson learned. What could I have done differently, though? Because I did switch Wi-Fi. I don't know. I think I might spend some time looking at that aspect of the game now. Since I had a chance to take a peek at GrayScript in this part. I think maybe in the next part I'm going to focus on my own host security and anonymity. Sounds like it would be interesting for the next part of the series. So, yeah, take care. Have yourself a good day, and we'll see you in the next one. And let's explore some more of what Greyhack has to offer.